Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Peteman Reviews. Today we have the ToyWorld robot, Hegemon. Now, as you can see, Hegemon is a gun, and the well-known Transformer who changes into a gun is of course Megatron. Now this is the second release of Hegemon, so it's got a slightly different mould when he's in robot mode, and he comes without the additional stock and barrel parts to make him into a automatic pistol. That said, he still retains his current pistol mode, and he does stand up by a bit of judicious balancing. Size-wise, well, it's obviously made for an adult's hand, so it is larger than the original Megatron. The trigger does work, and you have a safety catch here, which does go up and down as well. Additionally, if we look through the barrel, it has a nice red filter on it to give you the impression that you're shooting to kill, as it were. Gun-wise, well, it looks like a real pistol. I don't have a real pistol to compare with it, of course. It's got the scope, it's got the viewpoint through there. So size-wise, it fits an adult's hand, as it should do, rather than a child's hand, and looks good. Because it's a third-party robot, an unlicensed Transformer, an unlicensed replica of a gun as well. It doesn't have all the etching that you had here, which on Megatron's original release. So it's a little bit plain. The grip is good. It does look perhaps not so much metallic as the original Megatron looked. It looks more plasticky, but again, that's what it is, so it makes some allowances for that. But otherwise it holds well, it does stand by itself, and it works well. Obviously, being Megatron, you're not going to have him very much in stand mode. You're more likely going to have him, let's say the stand mode, I mean gun mode, you're more likely to have him in Megatron mode, so we'll transform him. Now the gun does come off. I have to say, that's an exceptional replica of the original Megatron's gun there. That is exactly how it should look like. It's really good. It's actually smaller, slightly smaller than the original Megatron release, but this is more authentic, as the original one was a little bit excessive. So just put that to one side for the moment. Transformation wise, helps know a little bit around where things are on here when you transform it, because there's a lot of to-ing and fro-ing. So this part here is the legs, that's the upper torso. You've then got arms, which are all this side, so that's where there's the main movement around. So you've got to get one arm this side, which is fine, but the other arm you've got to somehow rotate this side and get it all in the centre. Stuff will pop off with your Megatron. Sometimes that's actually quite advantageous because there's a lot of to and fro-ing. It's not that difficult a combination, the transformation, in that it does make logical sense. You just have to know what part move and what parts don't. Part that pops off the most is the barrel here. So what I do is it rotates there, and it's on a very small ball joint here, so it sats up like that. However, as that comes off all the time, we're just going to take it off now, get it out of the way, plus that gives us a little bit more movement as well. This pit, which is ultimately one of his arm cannon mounts on, I'm going to rotate like that, pop it down there, out of the way. These bits as well with the fake hinge, just going to get out of the way now. Same thing here as well. You can see it just comes off there, and you can start to see all the inner workings as well. The trigger has got a little slot in here which can unhook it from there as well, so that gives us a little bit more to work with. Okay, so what we're going to do now is the arms. So these split in two here. They will split in two. There we are. Okay, so this arm is fine where it is. This is the side we want it to be, so this is fine. It's this arm we've got to rotate round. So the whole thing, first of all, you slide it back, whole thing flips round like that. You can now do the full disconnect here, and you can see here, just about here, there's a slightly darker plastic than all the rest. This is where all the movement happens. I'm going to get this part out of the way, flip like that. This whole bit here will then flip down, and then see, so we're now this side, you then swivel round again. So this is always your front, this is always the waist of Megatron. So now we have one arm this side and one arm this side. Might as well do the arms while we're here. So this joint here, you can see it looks like it goes in there, and you'd be right, that's exactly what it does. slots in there, makes a nice clicking noise. That extends fully. You can start to see how we're getting arms here. Hands just rotate out like that. See, we're starting to get there now with the more Megatron aspect. Same, now this side is slightly different in that it's the same kind of slot, but it kind of goes in reverse because there's nowhere for it to slide into because it's already out. This bit you're going to end up in there. Or are you? No, you're going to end it up. You see there's a little hole here. You want to try and slot it in there. It's a little bit tricky to get, but once you're in there you can hear it go clunk again, and again the hand slots out. Okay, so that's our top part of Megatron. Now going to deal with the trigger. So move the arms up out the way. Trigger starts to rotate like that. This actually ends up in the back of Megatron. So this all flips up here on yet another hinge. Trigger now rotates that way, and then you rotate it up, so this now appears at his back and gets it out of the way. You see a similar sort of thing on the upcoming DX9, or depending on when you're watching this, the DX9 version of Megatron, where the trigger holds at the back, as opposed to the original Megatron where it was somewhat more unfortunately placed. Okay, so that now rotates like that, so you're kind of starting to see your leg panel there. These just go like that, and they're kind of almost waist guards. Splits in two. Legs then depends how you hold it, you can accidentally more transforming of him. Let's split two like that. Rotate, rotate. Now the feet. See, they're nicely slid up here, slide out, down, slide out, down. You then have a little part here, see that red, that folds out. It's very easy to fold in. Folding it out is proven a bit more trickier. Okay, fold it out is proving a lot trickier. Times like this, you need a pen handy, just to leverage under there so you can get some form of grip on it. Do the same on this one here as well. Okay, and that gives him the stability on the feet. We're almost there. Head. Pretty much where the head is, in this bit here. There we are. Now the remold is predominantly on the head. Isn't that just classic Megatron? Okay, so just get the trigger out of the way there. Right, so two bits are remaining now. Start off, that bit that we popped out at the start just pops back in here. This will pop out all the time, unfortunately, because of the way it's situated. So close as it is to the arm here, if you move the arm back too much, this will pop off. It's unfortunate, nothing we can do about it, other than not moving the arm. So, well, it kind of beats the point a bit, doesn't it? And unfortunately it's his gun arm as well. And finally the gun, so we just slot that back on there, like so. And there we are. One other thing to go through, Megatron does come with quite a nice lax from, it was called More Than Meets the Eye, but in the UK the video release was called Arrival from Cybertron. So I call it both. But anyway, the slot's on there. Ooh. Falls over. Now this is actually solid purple. It might look blue due to the camera and the light shining above, but it's actually purple. I say solid purple, it's clear purple. There you are, Megatron. It's fantastic, isn't it? You know, he really does look like Megatron. The face in particular is really good. He does come with a replacement head, which has got more black on it, which looks a bit like some versions in the comic, but broadly speaking, this is the version of Megatron we know and love. He doesn't, again, being a third-party toy, he lacks Decepticon symbols. He also lacks the etchings on here, and it does look a little bit plain without it, I have to say. Otherwise, yeah, it's the Megatron that you wish they released originally. It looks like Megatron. He's decent height. He's got good, his head's got good movability. His arms have got good movability. So have the legs. Again, everything you would expect from a modern Transformer is here. One thing to note is because of the way the head is, with the clear light, if you shine up to light there, he does have red glowing eyes as well, which is quite nice to see too. You can get various upgrades for this guy as well. I've seen ones with larger feet, slightly different head sculpts. They look good, nothing wrong with them, but there's nothing wrong with this guy either. He's fine as he is. Height-wise, well, against Masterpiece Prime, he is somewhat shorter. Although, let's not forget, the original toy was somewhat shorter than Optimus Prime as well. So it is kind of in keeping with that. I expect the DX9 version to be larger than the ToyWorld version. But, you know, it's not out of proportion. Of course, if you're standing next to the original Prime, he's a lot taller. So you're never going to get it quite right, but he's not that bad against Masterpiece Prime. And he does work surprisingly well too against the Titan's Return, well, this is actually the Legends variant, of Galvatron. The two are almost the same height, with perhaps Galvatron being slightly smaller, but the two work quite well together. Gosh, in this light it has to be said, the Legend version of Galvatron, with all the problems with the face, it's like he hadn't got a face. So anyway, enough said. But again, Megatron, between the three of them, he's not too badly sized. I say Masterpiece Prime is a little bit larger, a little bit out of scale with them. Masterpiece Prime Express always been a little bit out of scale, but he fits very good to scale with Legends, Titan's Return, Galvatron, and he fits very well to scale with some of the other Transformers too. So actually, he works well. As a toy, if you can get hold of him, yeah, definitely would recommend him. Now, the original release, which does obviously cost more now, comes with the extra stock for the gun mode. So if you want to get that, if you want to have him in a gun mode with the stand and with the, I think it's the machine pistol, that's the one to get. If you're not too worried about that and you want him mainly in robot mode, this is the one to get, because the robot mode's got a couple of refinements on just to make him look a little bit better in robot mode. So it really depends what you want. I mean, some of the differences are minor, such as on the chest panel there, the etchings are in red rather than grey, so they do stand out, but it's all about what colour version you want. Obviously there are different versions of Megatron out there, so ultimately it's up to personal preference. This guy is the Megatron I think we should have had back from the original releases. I know there's been advancements in toys and so on, but this is Megatron as he should be. He's decent size, he's complex to transform, but only until you realise how it all fits together. Once you see how it fits together, it's actually pretty obvious, and the plastic parts where he has to rotate and flip things around are a different colour to the rest, so it's relatively simple to follow. He's got good balance, good manoeuvrability. Enough said, you know. You're going to get him, you're going to want him, and he works well. I'm not sure how easy he is to get hold of now, that could be the one drawback. Otherwise, yeah, definitely worthy of your collection. Thank you very much for watching. Please do leave any comments below, and we'll see you in the next video. And just a reminder, this is called Hegemon ToyWorld. If you do a search for Megatron ToyWorld, you might find him on eBay, but ultimately it's Hegemon is the official name. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.